Now, Manchester looks like becoming a so-called green laboratory in an attempt to work out how the city could become a world leader dealing with climate change. An agreement's been drawn up between the university and the council that will see scientists studying different buildings and spaces around our area to better understand how they can adapt to rising temperatures. Now, one of the people who was at the launch event, which was earlier today, was Jeremy Carter. He joins me. Welcome to Channel M today.
Hello there.
So, Manchester, the city, is going to become effectively a living laboratory. Is that a fair assessment of it?
Well, I think, as many other cities, well, all of the cities around the world, they're going to be impacted on by climate change. Cities that sort of have different impacts that they can expect. Manchester, we can see we're going to get warmer, and in the winter, we're going to get more rain. In the summer, we're going to get less rain.
We really don't want any more rain, Dr. Carter, if you can help us prevent that, please.
That's the projections, are that we're going to have to deal with more rain in the city over the winter months. So what this project's about is trying to understand how we can adapt to these impacts of climate change that are projected to occur in this city.
So the way a city is affected by climate change, which all the scientists seem to agree is definitely going to happen, it's different to the way a rural environment is hit, is it? It
is really, yeah. I think it's because of the nature of the city that we see around us. There's a lot of hard surfaces. When rainfall hits a car park or a pavement, it runs straight off into the watercourses. Therefore, the amount of flooding is increased. In a rural area, you have more grass, and then that rainfall is absorbed.
Cities are essentially warmer places as well, aren't they, because they're populated and stuff? I mean, in the summer months, it's warmer in a city centre than it is rurally.
Absolutely, by up to 3, 4, 5 degrees in places. So what we need to try and do is try and understand the differences between a city and an urban and a rural environment and try and adapt it. And one of the ways we can do that is trying to make it, in a way, more like a rural environment by planting more trees, by increasing the amount of green space around the city, for example, by just increasing the amount of parks and gardens. These are all really crucial elements of adapting to climate change.
Well, that was going to be my next question here. I understand what we need to do and why we need to do it, but how are you going to do it? What is it you are going to do within the city of Manchester that will give you the data and the information that you need?
Well, firstly, what we're going to do is try and understand in more detail what the actual impacts are that we can expect here, you know, in a really quite refined sense. Which are the communities that are more at risk of flooding? Which are the areas of the city that are more at risk of heat stress? And then the next step of the project is to decide, well, if we were to recommend strategies to adapt to those impacts, what would they be? And then we'll...
Is it just a question of putting thermometers in different parts of town and registering the temperature change? Well, I mean, what techniques are you going to use to get this information?
Well, there's a project that's ongoing called iTrees. And this is like a part of this living laboratory, in effect. And there's certain areas around the city where the trees will be monitored in terms of the effect they have on the local climate. Right. So, for example, the amount of shade that the tree produces and the temperature, that difference that makes to the surrounding areas will be measured. This is really just to build the case for increasing the amount of green space in the city. It's not just adaptation to climate change that's a benefit. All of us will benefit from a greener city in terms of health, in terms of even economic development. In greener streets, you tend to get more footfall into shops. So
Manchester
it's good for the city.
Very famously been redeveloped quite a lot over the last 10 or 12 years. Have we seized the opportunity, or have we missed the boat a bit in terms of the way we redeveloped our city centre? Could we have made it greener?
Well, I think there's a good example outside this building of Cathedral Gardens where there was a new green space created, in effect. But I think really we have to go further than that. It's clear the extent of some of these impacts that we're expected to experience are really quite significant. So we need to go further. We need to increase the amount of green space. We need to understand more about where the impacts are and how we can deal with them.
Speaking of going further, let's go further afield from Manchester, because we are a county, Greater Manchester. There are towns outlying from the city. I mean, will the information be useful to them? Are you going to gather any information, or is it all city centre centric?
Well, the project itself has an international dimension. We've got partner cities in America, Singapore, Bangladesh and Japan. And these different cities are all trying to understand the threats and opportunities related to climate change where in their location.
So it is relevant to Bolton, if you will, or it's relevant to the centre of Salford or to Ashton and places like that are densely populated conurbations.
Well, when we say that we're working in Manchester, we're working in Greater Manchester.
You mean Greater Manchester,
yeah,
so it's not just the city.
Sort of the 10 districts of Greater Manchester is our sort of the area of our understanding of how we're taking this project forward.
We're running out of time. Just very quickly, how long are you going to take to gather all this information?
Well, we hope by the end of 2011 to have a clear blueprint of how to move forward with this challenge and how to address the problem in Manchester.
Best of luck with the research.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.